Hey, what's going on, everybody? Baublehead here, and this is not a gameplay video. This is a deck tech. I wanted to try something a little bit different. I wanted to make this deck and then see how it transforms over the course of a month. So the idea behind this particular deck is consistently threaten damage with your hands while also having a fallback of putting dragons out and using the dragons as your defense rather than D reacts. Now, there are some matches where D reacts are going to be in here. It is sideboarded in here, and I will get into that later. But first and foremost, I wanted to try and use the dragons as a health buffer, right? While being able to kind of come back and hit them with kind of larger attacks. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look here on the playmat. We got the good old Crown of Providence. There's no other headpiece that I'm using. It's just so good. It essentially neutralizes Command and Conquers and gives me a 5-card hand if I use it. Sink the card in there and draw off the top. So yeah, like there's literally nothing wrong with that. Silken Form, Quell, and then the ability to create an Ashwing at the beginning of the end phase. Like, that's just super convenient and strong. It also helps when, you know, you've exhausted your hand, maybe exhausted your board state, your opponent's on 1, maybe they have no health. You have Ash, will crack Silken Form and attack. I did run into an armory where I cracked Silken Form too early. Archer, I don't know if you watched these or not. It was kind of a really funny match. I had to burn them all on the table. He was playing Fi. He was at 1. I believe I was at, like, I probably went from like 11 to 1 because I could not draw a 0-cost dragon. And if I did, I had to block with it because he started drawing into more consistent heavy hitting attacks towards the end. I wish I had my Silken Form because I used Tumultai to get rid of his Arcane Barrier, and if I had the Silken Form later, I could have easily just cracked it and won. So that's my fault. That's something that I know I should have done. Anyway, so yeah, Silken Form is a great tool to pose lethal. Ghostly Touch, as you know, it gains counters on it for everything that's popped with Phantasm, and then you can activate it to become an ally. So you kind of pair that up with the Mage Master Boots by paying 1 to activate the Mage Master Boots. So let's just say you pitch a red, right? Get like a Passing Mirage out. Like, let's just say this has, 11 counters on it or something, 10 counters. And Passing Mirage out, then Ghostly Touch. Now you got an attack coming in for 10 with no Phantasm on it. So that's really convenient, and you always want to bring that into your matchups with when your opponent has a lot of poppers in their deck. So Guardians and Brutes, stuff like that. Flamescale Furnace, it's a staple. There's no reason to not bring it. It's a fantastic way to generate Ash and cycle your hands. Now, what I am toying with is, because I have a perfect 80 count deck. Phantasmal Footsteps. It's in this list for a very particular reason, because I have put more attacks with Phantasm in the deck. And if it gets popped, I can still pitch a red to gain my action point back from Phantasmal Footsteps, and then pitch into Flamescale Furnace again with another red, and now have 2 resources available to me to get whatever else I want off. Granted, they don't pop it with Phantasm. But because there are more attack action cards in here than dragons, specifically with Phantasm, I'm going to be running or I guess testing more with Phantasmal Footsteps to see if it's even worth it. Aside from that, the only thing that I would probably really substitute is throwing in Null Rune Gloves for the Kano and Icelander match. And a lot of times I know a lot of people try to get out you know, either rake the embers right away, generate as much ash as you could possibly can, and then get your rake the embers out to get your ash wings, because they all have arcane barrier, and then pitch into that. The problem is sometimes it's you're just at the will of the deck, and you may not have the ability to play a rake the embers right away, or you might not have that ash generated. So yeah, that's why it's not officially in, but if I was going to take something out, it would probably be the Phantasmal Footsteps into the wizard matchup and then throw these in. But this is not sideboarded. It is going to be something that kind of experiment with. But if your local meta has a lot of wizards, which I mean mine does, but if you're like in a very heavy wizard local meta, maybe throw these in just in case. So this is the equipment. You know, I'll have a link down below so you guys can go to the FABTCG site and see everything that I have. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of everything on the mat here, and we're going to get into the actual playable cards. All right, so before I bring everything out, the core of the deck is 51 cards. I find that the sweet spot is like 60 to 62 cards. I don't really want to go more than that because ratios can get messed up. Right now, the way that I have everything set up is I run 3 blue Rake the Embers, and I am in the process of re-sleeving everything because these are like frailed at the top. But anyways, 3 red Rake the Embers, and then 3 red Skittering Sands. Now, I have these kind of grouped together because they're more like support cards that interact with your ash, right? So these will help you create ash wings. As far as the other support cards, I found that I'm only going to be bringing 2 Burn Them Alls. Now, the reason for that is because I don't think I've ever had 3 on the board at once. And I usually pitch them for my second cycle or potentially my third cycle, depending on the opponent. Really, 2 is all I need, but feel free to toy around with a third if you think it's necessary to have 3. It is a 3 block and a red, and sometimes if you have no other way, if you do have a board state to get going again, sometimes playing it when you have a board state, which I mean, why wouldn't you anyways? You know, it could really benefit you. 3 red sigils, 2 yellow remembrances, and then this is something that's a little bit different because I'm not running as many blues in my deck. A matter of fact, you see 3 right here. The rest of the cards are blues that I'm holding in my hand. Obviously, it's going to be the 3 Passing Mirages. Now, that's not the thing that's different. So the 2 things that are going to be different in this list as opposed to my previous lists is we're going to be running 2 epots. So you can see we have 3, 6, 8 blues. Before I was running 9, and then I would side in up to 11. But I'm just keeping it at 8 for now. I feel like I comfortably run into blues when I need them with this specific setup. And what's nice about the epots is, you know, you can pitch them for 3 or have 2 resources when you crack them. That's always a major plus. So it does help with the Majestic Dragons with how cost heavy some of them are. For example, Optimi and Tumulti. No matter what, Optimi, unless you got like you draw into a blue with an energy potion, you know, he's always going to have to be arsenaled, and then you'll have to set up your next hand, crack the epot, then essentially pitch your whole hand. But if you draw into some yellows or perhaps a blue with the epot, you know, you can comfortably get him off and still have some resources floating. So it kind of helps alleviate some of the pressure you might have on your hand and just trying to get some of those expensive dragons off. So yeah, those are the support cards, and I'll go ahead and move those over here. So now we're going to get into the attack action cards. I feel it's always safe to have some attack actions that are not Phantasm, and I'm not talking about specifically Billowing Mirage or Sweeping Blow, but this card is always very comfortable to play, especially with the amount of reds that are in your particular deck, especially this one, because this is very heavy red. And then, but we do have some yellows, but that's okay. 3 red Sweeping Blows. And then we're going to pull some cards out of Monarch and do 3 Spears, 3 red Dunebreakers. Let's just hypothetically say you drawn to Dunebreaker, Spears, and a Blaze. You know, you can threaten up to 14 damage, you know, and if you drew like a blue or something, or even have an E-pot, wherever they are, an E-pot, crack the E-pot, get the Spears and Dunebreaker off for free, right? Free. And and then have like a Blaze Headlong. Or to pair it up with a Dust Up, the ability to create an Ash and then transform it into an Ashwing. Now this does not have Go Again, so this is typically what you want to end your turn with. It was really nice with my previous list when I had Nimblisms in the deck, which I may throw back in. It's just we'll just see how this month kind of transforms. But having Dust Ups come in with no Phantasm for 7 was pretty cool. It's just a really random card to have come in for 7. So yeah, like that's what I run. And then we'll keep the dragons down here at the bottom. So obviously we're running the 3 Majestics. We're also going to be bringing Dromai. Having a dragon that has the ability to consistently give you an extra action point, just in case someone does have a popper, is amazing. He's by far one of the best dragons out there, which also goes hand in hand with Caloria. The ability to draw a card or steal an item. I know there's a lot of Dash players out there, me being one of them. Having someone threaten to steal, you know, your Teclo Pounder or Induction Chamber or Plasma Purifier, you know, that's not fun. That's not fun. And Caloria does that. So it's going to draw blocks, right? No one really wants you to draw cards. No one really wants you to steal their items, especially Dash, right? So they'll throw some cards out there so you do not, you know, steal their items. And then Asfly. And of course, all of these, we're bringing all 3. Just saving some space down here. So yeah, like this is the main, I don't know, do I really need to talk about Asfly? It's a 0 cost with split damage. It's like a little miniature Rosetta Thorn, 3 health, 2 physical damage, 1 arcane damage to up to 2 targets. It's just a fantastic dragon, the best value dragon, I think, that we currently have. And yeah, so this is the attack actions, the dragons, and the support cards. And then of course, let's get into the sideboard. All right, so as I said, we have a 51 core deck. So for me, I'm looking to obviously add 9 cards from this pool of cards. Now, this obviously goes with like ownership as well. I don't have a playset of Command and Conquers. I've only ever pulled 2. So I'm only bringing 2, or else it would be 3, and I would take out another one of these cards. So I'm just adding in what I have sideboarded, and then I'll explain when I would bring them. Okay, so like I said, we got 51 cards in our core, and what we're looking to do is bring 9 to 10 juicy cards to really make the deck pop. So my idea behind this particular deck is to spam as many baby dragons or ashwings at your opponent while having the ability to hit them with, you know, fairly sizable attack action cards. You know, having to defend 5 is a very, very uncomfortable number to defend. What I'm bringing to like the ninja is I'm not bringing Marigai because I'm not worried about too many poppers in a ninja deck. I'm going to be bringing yellow Rake the Embers, 3 Yenderais, and then oftentimes I'll bring in a Command and Conquer, and just in case, 1 Marigai. The reason why I want to bring Marigai is because he has 4 health. Yenderai because he has that endurance counter. You can't just take him out with a Searing Emberblade. It's going to demand most likely 2 attacks unless they attack it with something that has 6 attack. Because that just pops them, right? Not these, but these right here is what I would side in to my ninja matchups. And yeah, I know something that I wanted to avoid while playing as Dromai was giving my opponent Mask of Momentum triggers consistently. But if they're having to spend time cleaning up my Ashwings, that's less damage coming to me. And when you really think about it, there's a lot of ninja cards, especially now with Fi, that hit for 3, 4, 4, 3, you know, they add up to a lot, right? Especially when they end their turn with those Salt the Wounds. But that's still 3 attacks and 4 attacks that are not coming at you or have the ability to not come at you if they decide to target your board state. And if they ignore your board state, shame on them. You know, they have to pay attention to it. And I know Fi can dish out a lot of damage, can probably try to ignore your baby dragons and say, I'll clean them up later. But as a lot of people know, if you leave dragons on the table, they spread like a wildfire. They board states just multiply. And that's kind of the point of this, is to just, you know, with dust ups, skittering sands, all 9 Rake the Embers, all the very low costing dragons, and having the ability to protect them, as well as also being able to kind of clap back with some 5 attacks, you know. That's a big thing. So this is kind of what I'm shaping the deck to do against, you know, Fis, Katsus, and like really aggro decks, because even if you're going against like Viserai or Briar, you can still deal with the rune chants with your baby dragons, the Ashwings. I always want to call them baby dragons instead of Ashwings. But yeah, like that's primarily what I want to bring for my aggro matchup. And then I'll go ahead and get into my Guardian matchup, especially Oldhim. Okay, so against like the Oldhim matchup, what I'm really trying to do is again spit out as many baby dragons as possible. So I'm bringing in the 3 yellow Rake the Embers, and then I've only got 2 Fate Foreseens and then 3 Sink Belows. Really what I'm wanting to use these for is soaking up those icy winter whales. That way, you know, I don't have to deal with frostbites. And then 2 Thamais and 1 Marigai. Marigai because I still want the ability to protect my dragons, because they do have a lot of poppers in their deck, but we also have the passing mirages and stuff. So we have 4 ways to protect our dragons. And then Thamai makes it so heroes can't play cards on your turn. So that includes like D-reacts. They can't play D-reacts. If someone's doing a very sluggish Oldhim, like a turtle Oldhim, very defensive oriented Oldhim, all the staunch responses, sinks, fates, whatever, everything on the board, They can't play them as long as a Thumai is out on the table. Now it does have 4 health, so most of the time they'll just kind of like sit there, smile at you, take the damage, or defend with other cards if they have them in their hand, and then just swing their hammer back at Thumai and then call it a day, right? And then you have one more in your deck to kind of hopefully soak up that turn, but it allows you to kind of hopefully get more of a board state out, because they have to choose whether or not to attack you or attack the Thumai, right? And so that's why we also want to bring as many Ash Wings as possible. That's why I'm including the yellow Rake the Embers, because I just want to vomit cards onto the table. I want to vomit those tokens onto the table. So yeah, that's primarily why I'm only bringing 5D reacts, just to save myself from the Winter Whale, because they will use their Winter Whale to you know, kind of control your board as well. They're not going to like double fuse an Oakenhold and then attack an Ashwing. They're going to attack you. But there will be times when they're defending with all their cards and then they have to swing back with a Winter's Whale. And you have a couple D reacts here to kind of soak up that damage. And then hopefully a large enough board state to just kind of overwhelm them with cards, right? And then I use in that matchup the 2 remembrances to recycle whatever my win condition is. So if I'm able to get Tumultai out, I'm still destroying their arcane barrier if they bring any against me. If they don't bring any arcane barrier against me, I'm most likely going to go after that crown to prevent them from cycling their hand and getting the ability to attack me with 5 cards, or not really attack me with 5 cards, but have a chance to fuse attacks and stuff. So crown is a very good card, but your win con is definitely the arcane. Yeah, that's typically how I would side that matchup. And then I guess like your wizards, let's side for wizards. Okay, so for wizards, Kano or Iyslander, does not matter. You know, there's a whole lot of lists going around, especially with the Iyslander Michael Hamilton list, where they're bringing, you know, very heavy hitting physical attacks and then being able to deal arcane damage, basically just massive split damage, right? And very disruptive. So I don't want them to disrupt me, so I'm going to bring all 3 Thumais. I want to threaten their arsenal. Granted, I know they can instant out of it, and that's fine. I want to threaten it though, and it also is a way to attack for 6. They have 1 window to interact with, so I'm playing the Command and Conquer and I'm paying for it. That's 1 window. It's obviously much different when invoking, but the play style into a Iyslander specifically, or really any wizard, is get your board state out as quick as possible. I don't second cycle anything unless I just don't have the ash for it. For example, if I drew into a red Rake the Embers and I had no ash, I'm not going to play the red Rake the Embers just to generate that 1 ash. You know what I mean? I'll do that definitely with a blue. I won't transform it to get a larger dragon out if worse comes to worse. But yeah, I'm definitely doing my best to generate as much ash as possible and then getting out all my dragons as quickly as possible. So yeah, and then of course you got the sand covers. This turns ash. You basically target an ash and then it gives that ash ward 4. So you can prevent a full waning moon on your turn, or really any card that's coming at you that deals 4 arcane damage or 4 physical. But yeah, it's a very good instant, especially. So yeah, that's something that I like to bring into wizards. And then you'll see over here, I mean, this might as well be 54 card core. because I bring the yellows into a lot, because the point is to the ash wings onto the table and make your opponent think about that board state. The worst thing that I have run into, while obviously I do a lot of gameplay videos on here, go check those out, is when I go to my opponent's turn and I have no board state, and I have to sit there and think to myself, man, do I defend or do I soak this up and, you know, put a board state out for next turn? And yeah, they have to take care of it, but so many heroes now are aggro. Oldham's even got like a pretty aggro build. You know, there's so many Fies out there, and they just deal so much damage. Icelander, not necessarily like super aggro, but just can hit you hard while be super controlly. Dash, especially boost dash. There's a lot that can really threaten your board state, but as long as they're targeting your board state and not you, I feel like you still have enough attack action cards in here to really threaten their health, and that's kind of the direction that I'm trying to go. Now, of course, when I'm recording this, it is, well, technically Halloween, and so it's a couple weeks until Dynasty comes out, and there's obviously going to be some Dromai support. Yeah, this list will transform, and I want to revisit this list and how it transformed over the month. And so you'll see how I change things from gameplay video to gameplay video, and like I said, we'll revisit it. Anyway, if you guys like this, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. I do lots of gameplay videos. I post usually 2 a week. I'm still toying around with the schedule because I'm still letting this is a brand new channel. I was on a different channel. I'm on this channel now. I'm letting kind of the algorithm set in. So some weeks I post 2, some weeks I post 1, but I'm definitely at the point where I'm going to start posting 2 videos a week. Like and subscribe for more. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy.